Are we on? Uh, I can't tell. We haven't done this before, in case you couldn't tell. Welcome to live chat. Remember to go. Yeah, don't need that.
Drop a comment if you're in here with your name and where you're from.
And you can hear us.
And if you can hear us.
Chat filters, community moderation. No, so I'm just looking at all these options here in the live window, trying to figure out if we got this thing on. I was just fiddling with these little microphones, but I wasn't quite ready. So, no, that's mute. Can you hear us? I can hear you and I can see you. Thank you, Freddie.
Yay!
Or Fred. I see your comment.
Hi, Fred.
You're up at 2:50 in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Dedication.
That's an honor.
Or night owl. Should we go up to the wheelhouse?
He said he's up for it. Okay, well, we're in the Alaskan Gypsy, and here's what I was just working on. There's our engine. It's a Cummins 6BT 5.9 is what it's called when it's in a truck. And I just have spent this afternoon working on replacing, here it is, the rear main seal on it. Hello already then from Toronto, Canada. Thanks for joining us. Hi, William Barry. Hey, all. So here's the rear main seal on that engine. And when we first got the boat, we bought it in Ketchikan. And we had to bring it up here to Wrangell, which is like a 12-hour trip. And I was leaking a bit of oil. Martin Spearings, hello from New Zealand. Martin, I got to tell you, my mom's a Kiwi. I'm actually half a Kiwi, believe it or not. If you couldn't tell, you could probably tell. But my mom is from Fielding, near Palmerston North. Let me know if you've ever been to Fielding. Dan from Fort Worth, Texas. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Bob.
Bob Jacobs. Keith Adams from Texas.
Yay.
Carl says, how's the search for prop going? I'll get to that, but anyhow, I was telling a story. We were leaking some oil out of the rear part of the engine. I suspected it might be the rear main seal just from what I had heard and been told. And so here is the rear main seal. Mark, love your show. Wish I was there. Thank you, Mark. And I just pulled this one out. I'm making a video about it, and I'll share that when I get to it. It's going to be kind of a long video because I'm just letting it roll. Stream of consciousness, mechanic trip. Hi, Dale from Washington. So there's the old seal, and I got a new one in there. It was a success today. And I was able to get it in before our live here. And I just came back from the hardware store with some Loctite for the bolts to put the flywheel adapter plate back on. And so anyhow, that's what I was in the middle of. There's the engine, all the stuff. Some people have asked about our camera. Here's the little camera that I'm using that was filming that tiny little like GoPro like thing. And it was down there in the engine room with me. Yeah, it's a DJI Action 5. Works great, super easy. And I can even voice control it. Here's our little microphones that I was trying to get going for this live, but I didn't quite get them linked up in time. Hi, Randy from Oregon. So that's what was going on. That's why the cabin is all a mess. We're gonna go up in the wheelhouse and leave that mess behind. It's still daylight here, barely. It's 5 o'clock in Alaska. And I'll show you outside. It's actually not raining. It's basically been raining every day for quite a while. And if you look closely over there, you can see we got fresh snow on the mountains.
It's true.
And I've been watching that snow on the big mountains that you can't see from here, but when you go for a drive, you can see them. That snow's been coming down, and now we can see it from the shipyard, so it's a little bit concerning. I don't want to be here when it's snowing. Honestly, it's been raining on us. That's all fine. I don't want it to be snowing on us while we're in the shipyard. William says, I installed the seal like that once. Like a dummy, I tapped it in too hard, and the spring popped out, but I couldn't see it. Oh, I was fairly concerned I'd goof that one up too. But I think I got lucky. I'm going to turn the lights on up here. Hi from Galesburg, Illinois. Rock 10 JJ says Jesus loves me. He must, because he gave me the Alaskan Gypsy. There we got lights. Hey guys, where will you Homeport be when you launch? This is the Rebel X. Jeff, also from Washington State. We're not going to have a Homeport. The back of this boat, it was built in Anchorage, Alaska, and it has, right now it says Ketchikan on it, but underneath that it says Anchorage. Audrey used to live in Anchorage.
Yeah, for 20 years.
And I'm from Homer, which is a 4.5-hour drive south of Anchorage. Grew up there. And we are looking forward to we're going to take the Ketchikan off, and it'll be the Alaskan Gypsy, Homeport, Anchorage, which I realize is quite funny. I'm not very fond of Anchorage.
Yeah, me either.
Neither is Audrey. But you know what? We're going to live at the anchorage, wherever we anchor the boat. That'll be our home port. We don't plan to spend much time in town because neither one of us really loves being in town. Although Audrey does love Wrangell.
Yeah.
More than any town I've ever seen her love.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things going on here.
So we'll probably bounce around here a bit, but no, we're not going to have a home port, is the plan. This boat is big enough for us to live on all year round.
Yes.
And have our kids on board and friends come and visit. My dad just left. He was here visiting, and so that's the plan, is to live wherever we drop the anchor and wherever we're cruising.
Yeah, don't say that number. I just heard some kids hollering that out in the streets.
I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
The real people from Canada just love their work. You hitting wintertime now. Yeah. Love the hunting session. Thanks, Freddie. We are loving that deer, and I'll probably show you in this live stream. I actually hung the deer up in the bow on the boat in the workshop because we're painting under the shelter tent so much, and I don't want the deer to get cured in epoxy fumes. So Bob Jacobs, you guys are doing great so far. Any plans for warmer climates? Well, it gets warm here in the summer, and there's hot springs. Does that qualify? We both love Alaska, and I've traveled a bit. Been to New Zealand a few times, Vietnam, Hawaii, some tropical places, Fiji. Had a photo job in Fiji one time, and I like visiting places, but not real excited to take the Gypsy out of Alaska just yet. Maybe someday, but not right now. So not really any plans. We plan to explore Alaska more. I've had the wonderful opportunity in my life to explore pretty much everywhere in Alaska in varying capacities, and lots of places I'd be happy to go back to, and some places that I haven't been able to spend much time. So that's the plan for now. That shelter tent you built was impressive. Yeah, it's still there, and it has basically been raining basically every day since I finished the shelter tent. It's been quite an asset. And to be honest, the project, if I had to do this over, here's what I've learned. I would come into the shipyard, and the very first day, pressure wash the hull. I would start building a shelter on the first day, and I would fully enclose the bottom of the boat like I finally did, and then I would sandblast the entire hull the next day as soon as I could. And I can't shame myself too much for not doing that, because I kind of got misled a little bit, thinking I couldn't afford sandblasting, which maybe is true. I haven't paid the bill yet. But I think I'm going to be able to swing it. And it's live and learn. Now I know that sandblasting could be done within the budget, and it is such an amazing thing to be able to do to a boat like this. And so that's what I've learned the hard way. Enclose the boat, sandblast it. If you ever end up in this situation, there's the best thing I've ever learned. So the shelter tent, I didn't really want to build it because I probably have almost $2,000 into materials alone on that shelter, and I'm going to just dismantle it, and it's essentially like, I don't know what I'll do with all this stuff, but it's kind of a bummer. But that's the cost of this type of project, I guess. Randy says, retired sawmill millwright here. Your skill as a beginner is at a very high level. You must have been blessed with some good common sense. I think that's open to negotiation and argument. But one thing I don't lack, Randy, is a willingness to try things I don't understand.
It's very true.
And that's been my lesson in life is, just give it a try. Worst is you fail and learn. So I actually have 3 sawmills too, by the way, and cutting lumber is one of my favorite things to do in life. I have a Lucas Mill 820, I think it's called. It's got the 8-inch cut capacity on it, and it's an old one, but it works good. It actually has a new engine in it, and in a alternate life, I mill logs and do timber framing.
Yeah.
Beginner timber framer and fairly experienced at cutting on a personal level. And have a old Cook's bandsaw mill, and I have on semi-permanent loan an old Wood-Mizer LT40 sawmill. So for you sawmillers out there, we're brothers. The sandblasting must have been a price, but worth it. Good choice. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that I'm gonna have it'll be a few $1,000s into the sandblasting. And I'm very grateful to Don at Superior Marine for renting me his equipment for the 2 days. Took 2 days basically. Knowing what I know now, I could have done it in 1 day, but the machine wasn't working, and I was beginner ignorant and didn't know it wasn't working. So it took me, I think I was blasting for 8 hours when it should have only taken 3 hours on one side. But it was plugged up. I didn't know it.
One way to get more mental hours. It's by the day.
Yeah, so I wasn't ready to do both sides. I thought I was going to do one side and then the other, and that's how I ended up doing it. So, but it was life-changing for this boat. Right. First time for me to be here. Do you have an actual job up there? Patricia asks. Well, Patricia, I've had so many jobs I can't even keep straight. And every time someone asks me what I do for a living, I have to really think about it because I've done so many different things. So I've sawmilled. I've done photography for about 20 years. That was my main career. I made websites, did surf. I worked on a boat that did long-range surf trips. I have my captain's license. I commercial fished. I worked on a research vessel. I've operated an aerial movie camera system that was on a helicopter. I've operated equipment, done gravel, dirt work, excavation. I was a project foreman for a remote drilling operation. I've done sort of litigation assistance, which is a weird one, for companies doing debt collection. I've made content. I've bought things at good prices and fixed them up and sold them at fair prices. Done carpentry, timber framing, welding, fabrication, repairs. So there's a few of the things I can think of right now. It's a weird list. I'm sort of a homesteady type person. I like to have a lot of skills and tools and do a lot of things, and that's why I'm at home on this boat, because I'm having to use every skill I have practically here, and it's fun. And where there's a will and a passion, there's a way, like Freddie says. So
I do actually have some jobs here in Wrangell, which is kind of cool.
And she has a past career as well.
Yes, I do. Yes, nurse for 20 years. Before that, deckhand on the tour boats out in Prince William Sound. Lived out remote island out there. So beautiful and amazing. That's just where I truly fell in love with the ocean. After nursing, what did I do? Sales for a little bit.
Yeah. I'm surprised she hasn't sold you anything yet. She worked at a company that sells window replacements, but she was like their top salesperson in the history of the company. it's questionable how she managed to achieve such incredible sales because she didn't really know what she was talking about. She knew how to
Anyway.
sell windows. Her customers were happy. That's what counts in the end.
It's good product.
And there were good windows,
Yeah.
but she was really good at selling them. So watch out. Be careful if she tricks
Okay,
you.
okay. No.
She doesn't have to trick you. She has good energy. People can sense her genuine enthusiasm
Yeah.
and energetic charisma and magnetism.
Mhm.
And when she says you should buy something, you might get weak in the knees and decide she's right.
Yeah. So I had that experience for like 6 months, and then I've also been that, which was really fun and awesome, but I kind of didn't love it for the long term. But I do healing, so I get to work from anywhere, and I also do content creation. So I do content creation for a company called Nomar, Nomar. They're really interesting. You should check them out online. And so that's really fun. Nice Alaskan company that provides all sorts of gear, maritime gear, clothing, all sorts of goodies. But also, I love to do energy work. I do Reiki, and I get to share that in the communities that I visit. So
She just got back from a Reiki appointment.
yeah, I had 2 today, and they're just like my favorite thing.
I call her the white
ever.
medicine woman.
So
Which
cool.
is kind of a joke, but kind of not. She's had the pleasure of being able to provide her
Mhm.
energy healing, which is really about helping people sort of
Mhm.
connect with themselves and what's going on internally for them. And she's been able to help some of the Native Alaskan people in this area, and it's pretty cool. I think she's kind of acting like a bit of a medicine woman of old in some way, I suppose. But
I don't know.
pretty cool to be able to help people with that rich kind of spiritual background, I guess, in their
Yeah,
culture.
it's amazing.
And they
It's a
have
gift.
mostly been disconnected from that because they've
Mhm.
integrated into sort of Western culture. And their culture had a lot of spiritual or energetic traditions that are not really an active part of their current lifestyle for a lot of
Mhm.
them. And so I think that they find themselves a little bit lost and disillusioned with what's going on culturally and socially for them. So anyhow, it's one of the things
Yeah.
Audrey's doing.
Yeah, it's just a real honor to share with the community in general, and yeah. So yes, lots of work.
Reading Freddie's comment, background in photography and odd jobs. Yeah, that's me. The thing about photography, and I still do it. You guys haven't seen it, has not been a part of this channel yet at all because I'm just grinding away in the shipyard. But that's one of my main passions in life is sharing natural beauty, especially in Alaska
Mhm.
here. And what I loved about that career is I was able to just, pun intended, focus on whatever topic or subjects I was interested in and make a career or at least some amount of income from my curiosities. So I was really into surfing in Alaska. And so I had a modestly successful career photographing surfing around Alaska, living on a boat, working on boats, and exploring wilderness areas and taking photos of it. And then I was into aviation, airplanes, flying. So I did a lot of aerial stuff, and that was incredible to be able to just pick a subject of interest and pursue those adventures and not have to pay for them, but instead get paid. Didn't make a lot of money, but living frugally, it was enough to support my interests and provide for my family at a modest level. And all the fun things I did usually ended up making a little bit of money instead of costing. So it worked out for me.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of tech savvy too, so it was easy to manage the computer and all that component of business in the modern life. So William Barry says, I'm in California, but my genius brother is one of you Alaska guys. I think I've heard of this genius brother in Ketchikan who may have had his fingers on this boat. Is that who you're talking about, William? I don't know your brother, obviously, or who knows, I might actually.
Right.
But the boat was in Ketchikan for a long time,
Mhm.
most of its life. I think it was launched in '92. Thanks, Freddie. Thank you, Patricia.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dale. The hunt video. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's kind of outside of what we've been publishing, but that's a look at us and our life and what we'll be doing a lot more of once we're out of this shipyard.
Yeah, more adventures for sure.
Mark, regarding a typhoon, the funny thing about storms in Alaska, usually they don't get named, and it's just kind of, yeah, sometimes it blows 50, 60, 80.
Yeah, 100.
I've been in at least 80 mile per hour winds on the boat I used to work on, the Milo. And it wasn't, there was no name to it. It was just a stormy day in Kodiak Island area. So I don't know about a typhoon. There was obviously that flooding up in northwestern Alaska. That's
the typhoon.
That's thousands of miles away from us, so it's not really near us. But I had a friend who was out there, and he went back to Homer early to avoid it. He was out there collecting moose antlers and realized he was not going to drive his boat downriver to those communities because they were floating upriver from right here.
Jeez. I didn't know he went back early.
Yeah, so he came home early. Freddie says you should make shorts of some of your pictures. Freddie, I have so many pictures. Hundreds of thousands of them. I'd rather just take new ones, share them with you. Some industrial pictures about the last. I haven't been photographing this process really at all. My camera's sitting on the shelf, untouched.
Tons of video.
Just been shooting on the GoPro.
Yeah.
Little action camera.
It's pretty good quality, but not the same.
Not much art to it. Just focused on sharing content and getting the work done.
Yeah.
Patricia, is there any chance that you would know a man by the name of Danny Rye? Doesn't ring a bell. Hi, Dirty Muffler.
Hi.
Not sure what that is. Patricia Ruck. William, there's a good chance my brother worked on that boat. He helped build the FV. Well, okay, so the MV Susitna. I think, well, there's a few Susitnas. I'm aware of at least two. One was a crabber that lives in Homer now, but I think there's a ferry called the Susitna. The previous owner of the Alaskan Gypsy was Bill Gann, who was a chief engineer at the Alaska Marine Highway System. So there's a fair chance that if your brother worked with the ferry system, he may well have known the previous owner of the Alaskan Gypsy.
Yeah.
There's no more comments to answer.
Yeah. Any questions, or do you guys want to see anything? Probably be on another 10 minutes or so.
Let's go down and look at the deer hanging in the workshop because
Sounds good.
the $200 million ferry. Yeah, okay. Well, you might know Bill Gann. I'll show you the wheelhouse. This is just a total mess right now. There's
Everything really is.
ventilation fan that we've been using a lot. Here's some antique Cytex navigation thing that actually works. It's got these memory cards in it, C-map. It's quite crazy. It's almost like a museum piece at this point. But the helm, the electronics, some of these are pretty decent. This is actually an autopilot that I'm quite familiar with from other boats. I'm glad there's one of those on here. But can't really get a good sense of the wheelhouse right now because it's covered in stuff since we're living on here and working on here, not cruising on here.
Getting chillier out.
So I can't see what you see when I turn the camera around, but here's our engine compartment. Here's the galley. It's not too embarrassing. We got a nice fridge freezer over here. The ceilings in the galley are incredible. They're very tall. I can't even reach the ceiling. It's just pretty amazing. It's a nice big area, lots of counter space. And then we'll walk down through the lights on down here. There's a stateroom to that side. There's our master stateroom to that side. There's our freezer. There's what once was our bathroom, but it's now totally demolished. There's the head since we're on a boat. The new piece of plate that I put in because there was some more significant erosion in that area. And we'll come up here into the workshop, which is also a disaster because I've been pulling stuff out from under the floor and getting in at tools. But here's what I wanted to show you, which is cracking me up, is we got this deer hanging in here right in front of the toolbox. It's nice and cold in here. The old sign, Alaskan Gypsy Mobile Marine Service, welding, fabrication, and repair. How cool is that?
I see a short in my future.
Yeah, this deer hanging in here is pretty funny. I actually cut a chunk of fat off it to use on my repair today. And I'll show you one of my favorite things in here is when we first looked at the boat, there's this little thing on the boat, and I'll give Audrey the camera and I'll read this to you. It's quite funny. It's the captain's shop, it says, and this is from Dave Hershert, who built the boat. He said, captain's shop, what can we say? A fully equipped welding, metalworking, and woodworking shop with drawers full of parts and tools, and storage below for materials. It's all on the floor now. But the captain can repair, remodel, create, and build whatever his heart desires.
Mm-hmm.
An extra large hatch overhead allows him to bring aboard or remove larger items. Right above me is this 5 foot by 5 foot hatch that pops right off, no problem. So anyhow, I think that's pretty cool. The guy that built this boat was kindred spirit for me, and I'm inspired by the story of how he built it, why he built it, what it was meant to do.